Welcome to another episode of Concentric Educational Solutions, one door at a podcast, one door at a time, where we bring and look at the intersection of education, community, and now entrepreneurship. Today, we're shooting live from NABSE. I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing and welcoming you to the set, Dr. Luvelle Brown, Superintendent Extraordinaire. Man, I appreciate you. Not only just a superintendent, a NOOP.
Yeah.
So shout out to the founders. So talk about your journey, man. Yeah. Like you have a very unique story, and I think it's important.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure and a joy to be with you, and you inspire me. So thank you for inspiring me each and every day. And I've been serving as a superintendent for 15 years.
Wow.
I'm serving in Central New York, but I'm not originally from New York. I'm from Central Virginia.
Okay.
And I grew up in a rural community with very modest beginnings, and I'm one of a few that have been able to survive and make it through growing up in a rural community, poor, and with the challenges we had in that kind of a school district and community. Anyway, so I went to the University of Virginia.
Prestigious university.
Yeah. No, I was a first-gen college student. Went to UVA on a full academic scholarship.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
And let me back up even more. You know, our journey even in K-12 was fascinating. And knowing the work that you do, you would have been needed in my community. There were many young people who were not in school, who were not staying in school. My twin brother and I, thanks to our parents. And
you're a twin?
I'm a twin, man, Luvelle. We survived that environment because of a loving family and because of some powerful educators and because of athletics. 3 sport athletes. Very successful teams, and the connections led to connections to mentors who helped us, navigate the system. Long story short, did very well in school and was able to be at the University of Virginia, and I'm at this point the only 4-time graduate from that university. So I spent a lot of time on that lawn. I learned a lot there.
Talk about how did your time at UVA really shape you? Like, was there a shock going from the rural community and then?
Yeah, man. Growing up not far from the campus in Charlottesville, It was fascinating that the first time I ever stepped foot on the campus was my first day of class. And even then I realized, like, how can it be where a young person who grows up this close to one of the best universities in the world never have an opportunity to be on this campus or in this space? However, in some of the higher level academic courses I was in with white students, they all would come home, they would come back on Mondays and talk about their experiences on campus. Even then there was some cognitive dissonance, like, how is it that they were having this experience and I'm not? We were never welcome. And then later in life, as I talked to family members and as I was at the university, I'm realizing that the university was not always welcome, as you can imagine, for young people of color, or families of color, or people of color in general. Including my father, who worked in Charlottesville delivering beer, who was never really welcome to be on campus to do that. So the experience shaped me even in ways I didn't know at the time. And then being at a PWI as one of the few students of color, dealing with the microaggressions, the biases, it was a struggle. I had to be twice as good to get half a chance.
Were you feeling those microaggressions then?
Day one. It took me many years, even as finally as a professional educator, to put language to it. But I could feel the oppression from day one, bro. But because of the competitive nature that I have, that's innate, and it was built and reared into us by our families, I just kept grinding. I worked a full-time job, full-time. I worked 25, 30 hours a week, bro, on full scholarship. And
so you had to maintain the grades too?
Yeah, you had to maintain the grades and was going to class. It was a grind. And again, you always ask great questions to get me reflecting. That experience shaped me because my dad would always say, you're not coming home, you are going to graduate and you're going to be good and you're going to work twice as hard as everybody else there so that they don't take it from you.
So as you're going through UVA, when did you decide, was it early on you decided that education was going to be what you're going to do?
I knew day one.
Really?
It's interesting. The folks who were responsible for the scholarship said to me, you can't waste this on education. You can't waste this on becoming a teacher. There's so many other things to do. It actually was my first year roommate was an architect, and I was told by some folks at the university to enroll in the architecture school. But the people who had made a big impact on my life, my coaches, my mother was in the school district, they were all educators.
Okay.
So I knew my mother was a support professional for 46 years, man. So I knew the people who I loved and who had made an impact on me were all educators. So I knew I wanted to be one. So I pushed back against the people who were trying to ask me to do other things, and I enrolled in the education school. So I do this from day one.
Did you go the old route, like student teaching and all that stuff?
I did, all of that. So I did some other things. While working to become an educator, I also wanted to have other options. So I was also thinking about pre-med. I was taking all the bio courses, all the kinesiology courses. So I have a bachelor's in science. So I'm a kinesiology expert in many ways, because, I had people in my ear telling me not to be a teacher. And so I was like, all right, if I don't go in this path, I will do the pre-med and do all the things that people are expecting from an academic scholarship from UVA. However, my heart was in education. So I did both. Again, going back to my dad, be twice as good as everybody else to get half a chance. And always work hard enough to provide yourself some options.
So you come out, you start teaching.
Yeah.
When did you start thinking about, okay, the next step, administration, and then ultimately
I never did, brother. Thank you for that. My life goal at that time, and still now, was to have a 2-bedroom apartment and a Honda Accord, bro. Let me be clear. And to be able to take a girl out and have a good dinner every once in a while, to at some point have a family, to be able to put a roof over their head, and to coach. And I was a coach. I coached 3 sports at my own high school, the high school I graduated from.
Oh, you went back?
Yeah, I went back to my local community because that was part of it too. I wanted to make sure young people who look like me were able to survive their spot, but have people who look like me helping them do that.
So how administration?
And one thing led to another. And people kept tapping me on at UVA to stay involved with the ed school, to keep taking courses, and the courses you take after that are administration. And then one thing led to another. I'm wondering if other folks have had this experience. The kids of color who were in the school district that were struggling, they wanted a black person, a black man to help them.
Yep.
And the way that they needed that was going to be dean of students or a assistant principal. Yes. So I kept getting tapped. And to influence those young people who were struggling, that's what I did, bro. And one thing led to another. So let me be clear. My dream job was to be a kindergarten teacher, which is what I was. And I'm going back. Wow. I've been doing this, and I've felt
kindergarten.
I'm a kindergarten teacher by nature. And even doing my professional development opportunities, what I conduct and facilitate, I do it as if I'm a kindergarten teacher. So that's my passion, and I'm going to go back and coach too, when I'm done with being.
When you're all done.
Yeah, but what I've done over the last 25 years in administration has been to change policies, scale efforts, change mindsets, all the stuff that I know is needed for young people who look like me to get access and opportunities to the world.
So you went all the way through like assistant principal, then principal?
Assistant principal. Then I transitioned into a central office role, several central office roles, assistant superintendent, and then superintendent. So I've done them all.
When was the tap for superintendency?
And that was an interesting one because I had planned to be superintendent in the area in which I grew up in, and the tap came from folks in Ithaca, New York, who had heard about the work I was leading and the conversations I was having, and they wanted it in Ithaca. And at the time, there were 4 African American males on the board, and that's unheard of in
Ithaca.
In Ithaca, and those brothers and a community that supported them knew what they wanted from their schools, and they found a person in the country that they felt could deliver that. And they came to Charlottesville and found me.
How was the transition from Charlottesville and then going up to Ithaca?
It was a whirlwind, bro. A lot of similarities and a lot of differences. The differences was the weather. Let me be clear. It's cold up there, bro. It was at the time, but otherwise, college town. I've only ever known of how to navigate and be in an elite college town, and with the diversity of thought, the diversity of racial demographic makeups, like that. That diversity is what makes college towns great, and that expectation for excellence when it comes to education is what makes college towns great. And the lack of achievement for marginalized populations of young people is something that college towns have that makes them unique, and is an issue that needs to be worked on. And having lived through that, having survived it, frankly, it's something I have a unique perspective and skill set on how to navigate and interrupt. So yeah.
So you get the superintendent's job.
Yeah.
What was the hardest transition or understanding? Was it what you expected?
To provide access and opportunities for everybody, to interrupt inequities, you must give up privileges. My mom would always say that.
Wow.
In order to do this work at scale, you have to give up something. And she would always refer to privileges, and I didn't really understand what privileges I had, even though I had some. And one of the privileges is your own safety and your own, at times, your own peace and your joy. Because this work, and the work I'm doing at scale internationally now, is, it generates a lot of resistance at times. When you do what I've done and you have the kind of successes, people don't want it. And so that, and people come for you, they make up stuff about you. I've got death threats, people have come from my family. So that's the part that was unexpected for me. I thought that when you do good work and you have success doing good work, that you will get celebrated. Now, I've won awards, I've been celebrated, but let's be clear, that's not from everybody. The systems that we all navigating, the systems that we all are a part of, have been designed purposely to not include everyone. And so when you disrupt that, like I've done by implementing new policies, and you see the results, then there are segments of our communities that don't want it and will do everything they can to stop it.
And you feel the pushback.
And you feel the pushback, and then it gets personal, it gets targeted, it gets directed. Now, I've been able to survive it and navigate it, but that was new learning for me. I've had to adjust my thinking, and I'm guarded, and in some ways I'm jaded because of it. But I persevere.
Because you just, like, I've seen and watched you, like, not only have you survived it, you've thrived, right? And now you're actually mentoring. A lot of people a lot of soups look up to you. Black male soups look up to you. Like, what's the importance of doing that? Like, for you, how important is it that you're mentoring current and prospective superintendents, particularly black males?
Oh, thank you. My mama said right before she passed, if you do this work well, people will come for you. And that's predictable. What I want you to do is know that somebody has to take your place when you're gone. And I realize now she spent her life building and pouring into us so that we will take her place as an activist and an advocate and a community leader when she was gone. And we've done that. And now it's my job to do that too, because I'm not going to do this forever. And the folks who are going to follow me are going to now, one, know how to do the work, I hope, and also understand what's coming for them when doing it. And so when you know something is about to happen, you can plan for it. And when you can plan for something, you can be unbothered by it. My work now is to make sure that the younger instructional leaders across this country are unbothered by the resistance to the interruption of these oppressive practices that we are now a part of.
So if for those aspiring soups, like what are a couple words of wisdom that you would leave them with as they seek the superintendency?
Be twice as good as to get half a chance. Know your stuff and everyone else's stuff as well as they do. So that's the grind, bro. As somebody else, I watch you grind. You steady, you're a student of the game, you're humble and you learn from other folks, you read.
I appreciate it.
That humility and that curiosity, that willingness and wish to learn and be better every day, folks gotta have that. This is not the job to go into and relax. This ain't the job to be in, to be tired. I hear all the time, especially after the elections, how tired folks are and how disappointed and distraught people are. Now ain't the time to be tired. Now is the time to grind even harder. Understand and recognize how you find joy, and peace, which is what I have, but also continue to grind. So that's my advice to folks.
Continue to grind.
Keep grinding, work hard. Be humble and curious.
And you're not aging you, but you just turned 50, looking good for 50, right?
Agreed.
If you could tell 25-year-old Luvelle, as from a 50-year-old perspective, what would you tell your younger self having this experience? Is there any words of wisdom you would go back and tell your younger self?
And feel free to use this. Find that partner in the work, professionally and personally, and embrace that and support that, nurture that, protect that. On my journey, I struggled to nurture and protect the partners I've had. And they oftentimes became collateral damage when I was getting hit, or at times didn't get the attention and the support and love from me and others that they needed on that journey.
Wow.
I was too busy, man. I wasn't looking to the side. I wasn't looking around. And that's what family members, that's what professional colleagues too. I wasn't doing wrong by them, but I wasn't paying attention. And you see me now, man.
Yeah.
I pay attention to everybody.
Very intentional.
In my space.
Yes, you are.
And I love them.
And you check on them.
And I am selfless and I give. I wasn't doing that at 25, man. I was seeking to get more than I was giving. And so if I were to tell myself something at 25, give more than you ever receive.
Absolutely. Noop, I want to appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. Check it out. I want to thank everyone for tuning in for another episode of One Door at a Time, Concentric Educational Solutions Podcast. As always, you can check all of our stuff out at concentric.world. Dr. Brown, Noop, thank you for being the brother that you are. Appreciate you.
Likewise.
Until next time, see you soon.
Word.